What? Already?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we're already recording? Oh gosh.
Well, we can record. I mean, you know, I can always cut this part out if you wanted to talk about anything. I just didn't want to forget it.
Are you good at that? Can you do all the edits and stuff?
Well,
Look,
uh,
I brought my list of questions.
oh,
It's not
nice.
that many. I'm not going
Here,
to use
hold on.
that many.
All right. So we got a bit of a turn of events here. Everybody, welcome back. My name is Dana Zornes to another episode of RazeBells Conversations. And I'm blessed with the presence of Buffy. Did you go back to Bells or
No.
maiden name? Buffy
Oh my.
Curtin?
Yeah,
Curtin,
curtain.
Curtin. Curtin's
Oh,
maiden name.
okay. Yeah.
So I'm here with Buffy. And so we decided that Buffy's gonna ask me questions today.
Well,
And
I text you and I was like, does anyone ever ask you questions? And you were like,
yeah.
no. And I was like, I'll ask you some questions.
I think it's gonna be fun.
Well, I'm
So
nosy.
and what worried me the most is that you're a therapist by career choice. So I'm like a little worried about what kind of psychological things is she going to try to pull out of me today?
I would never. I would never. That is my career. That is not who I am.
I hear
Hmm.
you.
Oh my gosh. Okay,
So
so
I feel like
fun.
I'm on the chopping block. Here we go. Here's
Do you ever get nervous before you interview people?
all the time, every time.
Really?
I get nervous just to ask them if they want to do an interview.
Oh, really?
Oh,
You have
absolutely.
like pre-nerves.
This is so far out of my comfort zone. It's crazy.
The interviewing people?
Yeah, because I'm
Mm.
you know I think it just expends a lot of energy to be so social. You
Are
know.
you a naturally introverted person?
See, that's the thing. I don't know if I am because I can be pretty outgoing, but like it's like these interview things, right? It's like putting a spotlight on us.
True.
It's just kind of weird, but like a natural interaction, like let's just use a competition for example. If I were to go to a
Hmm.
competition, um, talking to people and befriending people, that seems to be fairly easy. But it does, you got to kind of open up your shell. You got to kind of open yourself up and be that person for that day. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. And I think it's so different. I mean, you know this of like putting an event on and having to kind of make sure everyone feels good and like trying to
Hmm.
make sure everything's actually working to getting to just show up and be at the competition.
Right.
And so many
Right.
people I know who coach or run events and compete are like, it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
It's nearly impossible to do all three and have them
Hmm.
all be maybe the way you want them to be or like the most successful. It's like if I
Absolutely.
host a great event, like maybe my lift isn't going to be as good, or like if I
Yeah.
focus on my lifting, then maybe something's going to fall because I'm focused on that.
Right. And that's ultimately why, a big reason why I didn't compete at the AAKO this year was
Yeah,
because, you know, one, it was the largest one that we had so far.
yeah.
And, you know, Amber was just, and Nikolai was just like, we think it might be best if you just maybe sit the lifting one part out this time and kind
I
of
think
focus
I was smart.
focus on the other areas.
I
So
know it's a lot. It's a lot to do everything, and I think there's also that part of especially for you coaching people too, where you feel like I have to show up, I have to have people
yeah.
like I have to perform well as like an
Hmm.
example for everyone else.
Right,
It's just too
right.
much pressure. There's just too many things happening at once.
So many things.
Yeah.
So many. So
How
yeah,
did you
it's
feel about
it's
All
way out of my
American?
comfort zone.
Well,
Yeah.
how did you feel about All American?
Uh really great. I
Yeah.
mean, I think it was the smoothest one we ran so far, you
Hmm.
know. Very little roadblocks or even bumps in the road for the entire weekend. Um Amber was super happy about it. So that like made me super happy about it. You know, it's
Making
when
Amber happy
yeah,
is like so,
it
I
was
mean,
an accomplishment in itself. You know that because the previous 2 years it was kind of like working out some. We had some clunky situations happening. And there were some things where Amber maybe got a little uh I wouldn't say frustrated, but taken aback by some things. So many things were happening at once. But this year it was just smooth sailing all the way through.
Amber coached me also when I first started.
Hmm.
And out of her, Nikolai, and Misha Marshak, she was the harshest one. I tell her that too. I was like, she'd be like, no, it's not what you're doing. You're not going to be able to do that in competition. And I was like, okay. But I mean, it was good. I needed it. I liked it, but she's tough. So
Oh
making
yeah.
her happy is a
Hmm.
very, very good feeling.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It was good. So yeah,
When
overall, it was a great one.
it was really fun. It was really fun. It was a little felt a little weird on the day where they were like, oh, this huge storm's coming through.
Oh
There's sort of this
yeah.
overlying, like, are we all going to have to
Yeah.
evacuate? Like, am I going to be able to get my flight home?
I had, there was vendors that came in for us and was like, yeah, I don't think I'm going to actually set up because of this flood warning. I don't want to get stranded here. And I was like, oh, okay. Uh, uh, that sucks, you know? But yeah, it was like an overcast of what's going on the outside of the building where no one, once you step foot in the Tropicana, you don't have to leave. So I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even leave it the whole weekend, so it's like, what is happening out there?
When we drove back, it was like super windy, and
Hmm.
Valerie Weeks was driving the car, and she says, "You guys can't totally feel this, but I'm getting pushed around on the
Oh
road." I
yeah.
was like, "Ooh, okay, let's get out
Yeah,
of
and I
here."
had I had to come south. So the New Jersey there's the New Jersey Turnpike Bridge that I had to go over with the U-Haul with all the equipment and all that stuff. And I got Mikey Two Food in the passenger seat, and I'm just over here like this. We're on top of the bridge, and I'm like, whoa, this motherfucker wind is pulling me, man.
Dude, it was something else, and the waves. Yeah, so that was a little interesting having that impending, like, and then some people just started leaving, and I was like, oh my gosh, should we
Hmm.
be leaving? And I was like, well, we're not leaving, we're staying here. I guess we can sleep on
Hmm.
the floor of the Tropicana if we need to.
Oh yeah, because you guys get a Airbnb every year.
We did, and we were like, we were not at a good level from
Yeah.
where we
Well,
were.
you're
We had
right on the
to,
water. Didn't you have the
yeah,
same spot as
yeah.
last year? So yeah, you're like right on the water.
I know we moved the car. We definitely moved the car because
Hmm.
where the car was parked was kind of like even tucked underneath a little bit. So
Hmm.
yeah, things you just can't plan for.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Okay, so this is where I'm going to get really. I definitely have gaps in the things that I know about you, even though we've been, kettle
Besties,
friends, kettle
kettle besties.
besties. Okay, were you athletic when you were a kid?
Yes. Yeah, I
What did
played
you do?
baseball was the sport of choice for me. Yeah.
What position did you play?
Shortstop, third base, left field. I was all
Okay,
on the
so you
left
were
side.
quick. Yeah, you were quick.
Hmm.
Okay. When you finished high school, you went to the military?
Yes.
What branch?
Army.
Okay. How long were you in the army for?
Uh, just shy of 8 years. So
I
when
gotta
it
I gotta take
it
notes now.
it was so just shy of 8 years that it was so close to 8 years. I just tell people 8 years, but it was like 7 years and 10 months.
Was there a reason why did you go in the military when you finished high school?
Uh, Number one reason is I was a knucklehead, and
No.
yeah, uh, I had this. Honestly, I've thought about this a lot over the years, and truthfully, I had this pretty keen self-awareness from a very young age, uh, and I just knew that the path that I was on was not a good path to be to be a, the way I see it is
Hmm.
I look back at it now and it's like that was my passage, my journey into becoming a man.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I never really had, I had two uncles that kind of helped raise me, but I never had a father figure, and the, the military was always part of the family, I guess, because
Hmm.
literally my grandfather served, these two uncles that helped raise me, they served, so it was a big part
Yeah.
of, what I think it carries on the Zornes family name. Um, I served, my brother served, he's still serving. Yeah, so it's just a big part of that. And I think, in high school, I was making a lot of dumb choices and, skipping school and all the dumb stuff that you do when you skip
Hmm.
school,
Hmm.
and uh, my uncle asked me if I had a plan for the future, and I told him, yeah, I was gonna join the military, right? And he's like, all right, so what's the next step in that process? And I was like, well, I guess I got to talk to recruiters. So we have recruiters that came into the high school, and that's how I initially started that process. Well,
Hmm.
the first time my uncle took me down to take the ASVAB, and like I said, I was a real knucklehead at the time. So I was, you know, defiance was a big part of life for me, as far as like
Hmm.
the rules go, anarchy, things like that. Uh, so my uncle took me down to take the ASVAB test, and I failed it the first time I
Okay.
took it. And as we were walking out of the recruiter station, he looked at me and he said, "See," he was like, "See, boy, the military don't even want you
Mm.
with the way you're going, you know." But for me, that sparked this fire in me, I think, you know.
Were you
Uh,
like, I've got to prove I'm wrong?
well, I got to be better. It was
Mm.
more of a I got to be better, right? So I went and studied, and I came back um, maybe 6 or 7 months later, and I passed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I found my dad's ASVAB scores when he passed.
Hmm.
They were so damn high.
Really.
It was like insane, but it was funny. It was like the things that he was good at, but then the
Hmm.
things that he, like, there's one part, I don't know exactly what it is. I'd have to take a picture and send it to you, but like one of the
Right.
parts was really bad. It was like one was
Hmm.
really good, the thing he was good at, and then the thing he was not good at was like super low. And
Yeah.
it was just like, oh, this speaks definitely to who he was as a person.
Hmm. Yeah. I think when my scores came back, the recruiters told me I could pick anything other than intelligence.
Hmm. What did that
Yeah.
feel like?
I mean, pretty good. Yeah, I passed
Okay.
the test. I kind of knew my plan was when I first joined was to go in and get a trade to get out, right? Learn
Okay.
some
Yeah.
skills to get out. I had no plans. I had plans just to go in for the 3 years, 3.5 years that they initially make you sign up for, and then I was going to get out.
Okay.
But I decided to while I was in, I decided to stay in for a little while longer.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Are there parts of it that you miss?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Um, a lot of it actually. Um, I feel like so now it's 2025, right? I got out in
Hmm.
2013, and I've been out now
Okay.
for 12 years, and it's like, or a little longer, and it's like, I still feel like it was yesterday
Hmm.
because I think about it just about every day. I do, and it's it's one, I'm grateful for that experience, and two, it's like, one of the questions you did send me, does it fill the
Hmm.
void, right? And I got to
Hmm.
thinking about that, and I'm like, does kettlebell sport fill the void of military experience? And the short answer is no,
Hmm.
because I don't think anything could ever fill that what that was, right? And
Yeah.
now, I've been out for, like I said, 12 years now, and it's like I've been on that hunt, like from the second that I got out. I bought a motorcycle, and before I even got out, I had a motorcycle, but when I got out, I was looking for that brotherhood, right? So
Yes.
seeking out like these vet clubs, vet bike clubs, and things like that, and just seeking out these different things. But I've realized real quick that nothing really takes that. Nothing fills that. Uh, but to relate it, to bring it back to kettlebell sport, what kettlebell sport does for me is keeps me connected. Because
Mm.
when I came out to Cali for OKC, I met up with some guys that I served with in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba.
Hmm.
When I went to Boston, another guy that I served with, I met up with. You know, when I went New Jersey, guys come out to see me this past year. It was the first time that somebody actually traveled to one of the events to see me, and so
Hmm.
that felt really good. You know, I've tried to keep my travels up, at least once or twice a year to meet up with some friends that I did serve with. So I've gone down to South Carolina. I have friends up in PA that I served with. I try to stay connected in that way, and kettlebell sport helps. Because not only is that you get that. It's like when I come out to Seattle, I still have a ton of friends up there. Uh, in that Tacoma, Olympia area.
Oh
So
yeah.
so I plan on meeting some friends that I served with. They're down in Oregon. I'll make a quick trip and go see some people that I served with up that way.
Wait, does that mean you're coming out to Seattle?
Well, I think I'm gonna try to make the K2.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
But
Finally.
there is, I know. There is some other things happening in May that I got asked by Seacoast Kettlebell to
Okay.
help out with their uh, competition that's also in May, and it's in New Hampshire. But I think it's
Oh yeah.
towards the end of May. So I think I'll be able to still be able to make both things happen.
Be able to do both. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
you got to come out for K2. It's so fun.
yeah. I gotta meet Seiko, man.
You've never met Seiko.
Never.
Oh, she's the best.
I know.
You'll be, yeah, she's awesome. It's a good event too.
Hmm.
Um, hmm. Oh, there's so many questions I have. I can't be as nosy as I'd like to be. God, if you were in
No,
my,
go
I
ahead.
mean, we are in my office though, so so
Hmm.
many questions. Where did you serve? Where did you end up going?
Um, so my first duty station was Korea, and
Hmm.
from there, I left and went to Fort Benning, Georgia, where I went to jump school. So when I was in Korea, we have what we call branch managers. So you can reach out to like your MOS's branch
Hmm.
manager. They pretty much supervise the whole thing. And I asked them if there were any slots available at Fort Bragg because I had this crazy desire to be a part of the 82nd Airborne Division and jump out of planes. So yeah, so I was able to get a slot to go to jump school. So I went to Fort Benning, Georgia, right after Korea. Went to jump school. That's a 3-week course, and then I went straight to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, where I served in the 82nd, Second and 319th Field Artillery. And while I was there in 2010, early 2010, that earthquake that happened in Haiti. So
Hmm.
the 82nd Airborne Division is a big portion of it is GRF, so it's a global response force. So their big thing is if anything happens around the world within 72 hours, the 82nd can be boots on ground, right?
Okay.
So it was not quite 72 hours, but about within 5 days of that earthquake, we were boots on ground in Haiti, helping
Wow.
helping with that relief. So that was pretty cool. Spent some time there, and then we come back, and then I had this wild hair to change my job because I went in as a so like I said earlier, I wanted to get like a a skill to help me on the outside, right? So I
Hmm.
decided to go in as a heat and air conditioning guy. So I got my certifications in heating and air conditioning, and got your license for Freon, and dealing with refrigerants and things like that. And then, well, come to find out, when I got to my actual unit, that stuff is all sourced out to civilians. So I pretty much became a mechanic, which I've been my whole life anyway. So I was just
Okay.
turning wrenches on trucks and stuff like that. And then, so I had this wild idea that I wanted to change my job and pursue something else. So I decided to do correctional officer,
Okay.
which is like so far beyond what I ever thought I would do.
Uh-huh.
And I was thinking it was going to be, this awesome transition. So from Bragg, I went to Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, and I changed my job. So I had to go back to school. And then from there, I went to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, where I was there for a year, uh, doing that thing with, as a correctional officer, prison guard.
Hmm.
So but I quickly realized that I made a mistake because like at this point I was so used to what we thought was regular army, right? Uh, you
Mm.
know, so you show up at 6 a.m., you do PT, you go, you get an hour and a half, breakfast time. So 7:30, you're done PT. You got to be at work at 9 o'clock. So and then from 9 to 11, from 11 to 1, you get another break, so a lunch break, right? And then one
Okay.
o'clock, you show back up to work, and you work until the day is done. And like we worked in the motor pool, so a lot of times, we're working until 6, 7, sometimes 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Hmm.
And there was those days where we would get off with the rest of the battalion, like 4 o'clock, right? But almost, you know, and if anybody served in a motor pool, they'd understand. Like Fridays come around, we're hoping to get off at 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Well, then motor sergeant says, "Hey, there's some freaking things that need to happen, and nobody's going home until that happens." We stick around and we get it done, right? So when I transitioned to correctional officer, we it was no longer that regular army type schedule. It was you work shift work, and they had
Mm.
most units would have like 3 shifts. So you'd have your day shift or your morning shift, a swing shift, and then overnights, right? So, or if they didn't do 8 to 10s, you would have to do 12-hour shifts. And your days off, you didn't get the regular days off like the regular army did. You work through holidays, you work through all of that stuff. You work through Christmas, all the time frames where the regular army is getting off and having 4-day weekends. That doesn't happen for these shift workers in the military. They have to, it's like you just if you're a lot of times, depending on the manpower, you could work 5 or 6 days straight before you get a day off. Now, sometimes, so in Cuba, it was a time that we was working 6/12s without a day off. So
Oh.
so you get one day off, and then you got to go back. And there was even times where we would have to work 14 or 15 days straight before we got a single day off. So I quickly realized, like, oh man, I fucked up, you know. And
You're like, this sucks.
but once it was done, it was done. You just got to do it. So
So you did that for a year and then
so after
you're
Cuba,
like,
I
yeah.
ended up I ended up going up to Fort Lewis, Washington, and that's where I finished out my contract. And
Okay.
when I was up there, I can't remember. Every unit is like not numbers and stuff. So I think it was 595 MP battalion is what I was in. 42nd MP brigade. But yeah, so I was up there, and that's where we went to Afghanistan, um, for a year, and then come back. And then right as soon as I get back from Afghanistan. So I had to extend my contract to even get on the deployment. And then when I come home, there was this opportunity to do what they call veterans and piping, right? So it's a
Okay.
transition. It's a transitional thing. They put guys who are about to get out. If they want to go into a trade, there's these different trade opportunities for soldiers, right? Uh, so this particular thing was called veterans and piping. So it's steam fitters, pipe fitters. So you learn welding, all that good stuff. And I
Hmm.
decided to do it. Well, this was like the very beginning stages of that program. So they wanted me to stay on active duty. So I had to extend my contract again to complete this portion of school.
The training. Yeah.
Yeah. So, which was really cool because I extended my contract and then I did this veterans and piping program. And, my place of duty was the school, right? And it was off post. It was like down in Olympia. So
Oh,
it
nice.
was
Yeah.
it was away from Fort Lewis. So that was my place of duty. And for a good 3 or 4 months, I maybe reported to my unit once or twice.
But you were focused on school at that point.
Right, right,
Yeah.
yep. But I was still active duty. So, and that was a a pretty weird transition because it was pretty much I get home from Afghanistan and I start this school, right? And it's
Yeah.
like it's almost like you're a civilian, but you're not. So I didn't have to even wear a uniform. It's just wake up, go to school, and it's like Monday through Thursday. And then, back then my unit was still pretty. I guess with it being such a new program, they
Hmm.
weren't making me come to formations or report to the unit at all. So for that period of time, I just didn't have to. I rarely even went on post. You
Were you
know,
like looking around like, does anyone realize that this is
yeah,
like kind of cush?
yeah. It was
Yeah.
super 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 easy. Uh, and then so yeah, I finished that school up, and then I had to do this, the out processing, to finish out my contract and ETS from the military.
Okay.
Hmm.
And then you got out and you have been doing what you're doing now?
So I got out. They asked me where I wanted to go with this
Hmm.
program, and I said, well, in the beginning, I was going to stay in the reserves and go down to uh, Arizona, right?
Hmm.
Because me and my brother and we had a couple other friends, we were all just going to transition out of the military, go to the reserves in Arizona, and that's where we were going to do this thing, right?
Okay.
And last minute, my brother gets offered a substantial amount of money, so a big bonus to stay in his job. And of course, he's like, "Hey man, I love you, but
But
I'm not going to turn it down." It's
uh-huh.
kind of hard. It's kind of hard to turn it down, right? So he took it, and I was like, "Well, I'm not going down there without my brother." That was pretty much the whole reason that
Yeah.
I was going to move down. I didn't have any kids at the time, all that jazz. So I was like, "All right, well, I'm not going to go to Arizona." So I halted my reserve thing. I just didn't sign up for the reserves, and I was like, "All right, well, just send me back to Baltimore, Maryland, and I'll continue what I'm doing there." So they're like, all right, so here's what you do. You just contact the local because it's all, it's union based.
Yeah.
It's transitioning guys right out to an apprenticeship. So I contact the local union for the pipe fitters. I think it was 602. And I was like, yeah, so, I have all this paperwork and stuff, and, I'm going to start this program, this apprenticeship. It was like, oh, that's really cool. But the only thing is we can't put you to work for like 2 or 3 years.
Oh,
Yeah, so I was like, oh, well, that sucks. What am I supposed to do? Like, can I go get a job as a welder somewhere? And they were like, absolutely not. It's all, part of that union stuff that, you know,
yeah.
they don't want you working outside the union and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so I guess I'm just going to go back to fixing trucks until, that comes up. Well, I just kind of let that fall to the wayside. Kind of didn't. didn't go that route. And then, I'm just go back to what I know, what I've known my whole life is just working on trucks. So, big diesels and, 18 wheelers and stuff. So, hmm I did that. And then I met my wife, who I was introduced to her brother, like
Mm-hmm.
shortly after. And I think it was like 2000, like later in 2015, I met him. And uh, she took me up to his like birthday party or something. And he has this big house in Pennsylvania, all these, massive yard, big, big pool, got a camper, new vehicles, four wheelers, dirt bikes, go
You're like, what do
karts.
you do for work?
Exactly. I was like, man, what are you doing? Right. And he's like, oh, I build elevators for a living. And I was like, what? And then he kind of just told me about it, and with it being union and all that good stuff, I was like, you gotta let me know when they're accepting guys, because that's pretty much how it is. It's all like it's spread through word of mouth, right?
You got to know somebody who knows somebody type thing.
Pretty much, right?
Okay.
And um so I'm in the Baltimore area. The first one, the first local that opened up nearest to me was DC, so local 10. And I did their application process. It took me like 9 months to do it. It's you go in, you fill the application out, then you got to wait for a, I believe it's an interview, or it's a test, and then an interview, and then you get put on a list to get hired, right? And after I went through that whole process, it was like 9 months when they called me to start the job. So I show up the morning, and it's always like they call you, you're starting the next day, right?
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
it's they don't they don't care about the whole 2 weeks notice. They don't care what you're doing.
Like, you want to be
If
here,
you
you want to be
if
here.
exactly if you want it, this is your opportunity. You got to jump
Yeah.
on it, right? And I actually just told this story, but I wasn't going to do it because I was fairly comfortable with the shop that I was working in. I was pretty much running the shop. I was the guy for a fleet of trucks and trailers, uh,
Hmm.
making decent money. So I was like, I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, right? And I was telling my wife, I don't think I'm going to do it. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have even tried it, because I
So
was
she
comfortable.
knocked some sense into you.
Yeah, I mean, she just simply said, you know, you can always fucking fix trucks. You can always
Yeah.
come back to it. You'll never, 20 years down the road, you'll never know if you just didn't try, you know?
Mm.
And, 2016, I picked up my first tool to build an elevator, and I haven't looked back.
I know sometimes you send me pictures and it's like all these weird, like in the middle of like these small spaces. And I'm like, what
Yeah,
are
oh
you
yeah.
doing, dude?
Oh yeah. Some of it can be pretty tricky. So, come to find out, the day that they hired me, right? So they called me the next day. I had to come down to the hall to fill out some paperwork, right? And the president of the union, that local, walks into the business manager's office and was like, "Mr. Zornes, why the f didn't you tell anybody you were a veteran?" And I was like, "Well, I mean, that's pretty much how I got the job. My whole resume,
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I've done really, that
Uh-huh.
was worthwhile on anything, so my resume just is 100%, military experience. Very little did I put on there prior to military. It was just various shops and, garages that I worked in.
Hmm.
So majority of it was my military experience is what landed me the job, right? And he
Yeah.
goes, he goes, well, we have this fucking program called Helmets to Hard Hats that we would have hired you the very day you put your application in.
No
So
way.
the same program that I was just speaking about, Veterans in Piping, there's another one that so Veterans in Piping pushes guys out to the pipe fitters union. Well, Helmets to Hard Hats pushes guys out to the elevator union,
No way.
right? Yeah. So I mean, just for if anybody's out there listening, there are tons of programs that the military does offer to transition guys out.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, like they'll tell you about it, and like guys are like, "Nah, I want to go to Fort Couch for 6 months," and then 6 months turns into a year, and then you're looking at, you know, whatever. But, there's these opportunities that you can take from the military to kind of transition you out into the working
into
world,
something
right?
else. Yeah.
Right.
That's like one of the hardest transitions is to get people who have they're out of the
Yeah.
military and then like, what do I do next with
Hmm.
my life? And
Right.
I think too, as a therapist, I've worked with veterans, and even that there's that book Tribe. I don't know if you've ever read
I
the,
don't
I
think
can't
so.
remember who the author is, but pretty much everyone I've ever worked with who's been in the military is like, you need to read this book because it will
Hmm.
talk about like what's missing. And a lot of it is the relationships and the connections and
Right.
having this like built in, I don't know, group of people where you're going through this really hard thing together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's hard to replicate that. And I think, I've been a therapist that works with men for years. And that's like the biggest issue that I see is there's like, they don't have friendships.
Hmm.
They're not social in the same way. And
Right.
they just kind of get lost in
Hmm.
just in life in general. And you having three kids too, right? It's like parenthood is super lonely.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
everything kind of just piles up where you're like, I don't know, what am I doing with my life?
Right. Right.
So
Yeah. It's kind of hard to replicate that. It's
yeah,
like you take 50 guys from 50, or, guys and gals, you take 50 different people from 50 different states, 50 different cultures or backgrounds, and everybody has, it's just so everybody's so different. And then you put them all in a room together, and then you force them to go through hardships together, right? And that's what builds this like almost unbreakable bond with
yeah.
people. You know, it's yeah, that stuff's that's one of a kind. You know,
Oh, for sure. For sure. Um, you're not from Maryland though, originally.
originally I am. Uh,
You are. Oh, then you moved to
so
North Carolina, but you didn't lose the
yes,
accent.
what, the North Carolina accent?
Yeah.
It's not as strong as it used to be, but so yeah, I was born in Baltimore, Maryland, and then my grandmother moved me and my two of my brothers down to North Carolina.
Hmm.
Uh, I think honestly, I was 9 years old. Honestly, it was like her final act of service to the Zornes family,
Hmm.
because my parents weren't really around, right?
Yeah.
So she moved us to North Carolina to get us out of the city, to get us out of Baltimore City, and then my uncle down there kind of took over and raised us. And then a number of years later, I did actually come back to Maryland to another uncle that kind of just finished out my little journey of you know uh, being a young dumb teen, and then and then and then pretty much off to the races I went. Like as soon as I joined the military, I was gone for I've come home maybe once a year, and so yeah,
Can you say boil the oil?
boil the oil.
No, say it the way you say
So a lot of people get on
it.
me. So there's a number of words, right? So barrel, so a barrel,
Yeah.
uh, a barrel.
Uh-huh.
I say barrel. Uh, oil,
Oil.
oil,
You gotta
bowl.
boil the oil. You were
You're gonna
telling me you gotta
boil
boil the oil. I was like, what?
boil the oil.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So funny. My mom's from Texas, but she lost her accent so long ago. She does not have
Hmm.
that anymore. But you know, it's never gonna go.
Yeah. A lot of people tell me I have this very distinct uh, southern drawl to the way I speak.
You do.
Mhm.
Yeah, you definitely do. So funny. What was your workout like in the military?
Oh, basic bro stuff.
Okay.
So normally you do your PT in the morning, where it's, you know, 90% of it is calisthenics and running, right?
Okay.
Uh, and specifically when I was in the 82nd Airborne, it was a lot. of running. And it was like my first sergeant's like uh philosophy was if your legs so we would do these hard leg workouts like running, lunges, squats, bear crawls, uh, you know, buddy carries and things like that prior to a jump, right? So that morning we would have to jump, but that morning for PT, we're doing this strenuous like leg workout. And it would be like your legs are just noodles by the time you go to jump out the plane. And it's like his philosophy was you know, that way you don't lock the knees when you hit the ground. Because you got to do this PLF or a parachute landing fall,
Oh my
right? And it's
God.
like
Yeah.
you got to hit the 5 points of contact. So, and the worst thing for you to do is to have the knees locked out. So he would tear us up. So, but typically your PT workouts would be calisthenics and running, and then
Okay.
you know I was just that guy that I learned. I learned from a guy before I went into the army. This really buff dude, and he took me through. That's how I learned how to split my week up. So I would do 3 days on, 1 day off. Push
Hmm.
pull, a push
Hmm.
pull kind of bro split. And of course, I had the Arnold Encyclopedia, and back then it was like Muscle Fitness magazine, and looking at all these different things, but machine workouts, cables, barbell, dumbbell, those types of things.
Was it more
So,
about aesthetics then at that point?
oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. It was never
Like
about. It was
function.
never, never about that. It was like I wanted to, look good. And I can remember when I was in Korea, one of my sergeants at the time, we were talking about abs versus. All right, we were talking about abs versus what. All right, so we were talking about what women prefer, right? Do they
Okay.
prefer
Abs versus what?
chest, right? Do they prefer
Okay.
abs over big pecs? And he concluded, he was talking. I'm just one of the guys that were in there. I
Okay.
think we were on this like field thing, right? We were in the field, and like he's talking to us, and he's like, man, women don't give a fuck about abs, and of course he's like this big buff dude with this massive chest, right? And he
Uh-huh.
and he like pulls up his shirt, and he had a flat stomach, but he wasn't like bricked out or anything,
Okay.
and he's like women love big chests, dude. They don't and big arms. They don't care about abs. And for some reason that kind of stuck with me.
So you're like, I gotta
It's,
get a big a big chest and big arms.
so everything. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really never really worked on abs that much, but I kind of had a flat stomach. But like my favorite thing to do was aesthetics, chest, build that chest. I wanted to have that nice separation between the two pecs coming down, a nice corner at the bottom of the pec, a nice rounded outside. How can you do that? That was my primary focus. And uh things that I learned, like what I found that I really enjoyed was having like these big muscular Goldberg type traps.
Oh my God. Uh-huh.
So,
I
I
just
mean,
imagine these like dudes sitting in a room and be like, you gotta get like the big, you gotta get those big traps, and then she'll be like, yeah, let's hang
yeah,
out. You're like, and the
and
women are over
I'm
here just
so
being like,
impressionable.
can you do the dishes? Like, I mean, can you do
At the
that?
time, I'm so impressionable because
You
I'm
got
like
a
maybe
job?
18 or 19 years old. I'm out in this field mission. We got this, it's cold out, so we're in this tent, and we got this like fire going in this like furnace inside this like
Oh my
plastic
God.
tent, and we're just sitting around
Uh-huh.
on cots and our, you know, fucking,
Bro. And then you like
exactly.
roll up on her. Bro, you should wear a tank top, man. That's cool.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
cannot.
It was
Oh,
so crazy. It's crazy.
you were super jacked. Like, I mean, I'm not saying you're not jacked now. I don't know. I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't know what the
Right.
definition is, but you were like aesthetically like working it. But then how did you go from that transition to kettlebell?
Mm.
Of like, I'm just working out for aesthetics. I want to look a certain way.
Hmm.
And then, okay, now I'm going to do this other thing.
Right. So, all right. When I was in Cuba, I was uh, pretty much my workout split was the same: 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day
Hmm.
off, and that's just how I lived my life. Right. Every uh, everything pretty much revolved around work and gym. Right. And of
Hmm.
course, like at the time, I drank. So partying was all part of that
Hmm.
mess. Um, Drinking and stuff with the guys. And Cuba was a bit different because we had these like townhomes. We lived in these townhomes instead of like a barracks building or something like that.
Hmm.
And so the whole a whole strip of TKs, what we call them. We would all like come out back and grill and things like that, and have our little outside beers and our whiskeys and whatever you're drinking. But yeah, I mean that was pretty much the life. And still going to the gym, I get this roommate that his name's Sean O'Brien. And when I went up to uh, New England Kettlebell Classic up at Jeff's place last year,
Hmm.
I went and saw him. But anyway, he was my roommate, and he's like this. Not He wasn't scrawny, like he was maybe 170 pounds, but
Okay.
ripped, and he had it all. Like Jack, I mean, he had huge arms, huge shoulders, huge chest.
Did he have the thing under the pec?
Yes, he had the whole
Uh-huh.
shape.
Uh-huh.
My buddy had excuse me, my buddy had a glorious body, right? And you know, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. Let's go to the gym together, right? Well, his workout styles was a bit different. He loved these high intensity style training sessions. So not only would he do your basic bodybuilding type workouts like bench, deadlift, squat, flies, bent over rows, but he would add an element to it that I wasn't really familiar with, because I was like, oh, I'm doing cardio with PT,
Hmm.
in the mornings with PT. So I never really threw cardio in the mix, or these high intensity style training sessions. And so he's like, look, I want you to we're going to try this workout. It's one of my favorite workouts. And he told me about this workout called the 300 workout, that the guys actually, you know this was the movie 300, the workout that they did to
Okay.
to to get that body.
Okay.
So I'm like, let's do it. And well, in that workout, there's a kettlebell exercise. It's clean and press, right? You got to 25 on each side, you
Okay.
know. So that's 2010, 2011's first time I ever touched a kettlebell. But at the time, I'm maybe 23 or 24. So like I'm still super limber. Nothing could hurt you.
Those were the
Very
days, right?
very little thing. It would take a lot to get injured, right?
Yeah.
You'd have to be really, really, really wrong in doing a movement to get like fully hurt. But anyway, so he started like pushing me through this workout. And before the year, so the goal was it's a chipper style workout. And the goal was to do the whole thing as fast as you could, right? So you
Okay.
do it starts with pull ups, and then you got deadlifts, push ups, floor swipers, clean and press, and then back to pull ups. And you had to do each exercise to its like to the rep max before you moved on to the next exercise. So it was like this
Okay.
chipper style workout, and you had to do it as fast as you could, right? And I remember the first time that I did it, it took me like an hour and a half to do it.
Okay.
but after I can't remember exactly how long, but I was only there for a year. But by the time I could leave, I left Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. I could do this. My fastest time for this workout was like 15 minutes and like 20 seconds,
No
right?
way.
Which
Okay.
is insanely
That's
fast.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah. And well, my buddy O'Brien could do it like sub 14:30s. Like I think his max time was like 14:26 or something like that,
That's
right?
insane.
And so fast forward up to 2019, uh, I'm in the elevator trade, and I still had my classic. I do this for looks. I do this to look good. I had this distorted uh, perception, and at work, it's it's hustle time.
Hmm.
It's heavy lifting. It's continuous work for 8 hour, 8 to 10 to 12 hours a day, and I can just remember just getting gassed out, you know, not being able, not that I couldn't, but I was just so dead, you know.
Yeah.
Walk, believe it or not, elevator guys take steps probably more than anybody else on the job in the beginning of the job, right?
I can imagine that. Yeah.
Right.
Right. I mean, you would because you've got to, if,
We
well,
got to
if it's
build it.
not working, yeah.
Right. We got to
If it's
build it.
not
Right.
working. Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, I couldn't travel up 2 or 3 flights of steps without being winded. Well, it got to the point where the mechanic that I was working with, anytime we'd have somebody else come on the job, they'd be like, every, everybody would be like, "Damn, man, you're a big dude." And then
And you can't get up these stairs?
my mechanic would be like, "Don't worry about him. He ain't gonna last long. He's got blow up muscles." And so everybody, every, it just became a joke. Everybody would be like around me, they'd be like, just pretend to blow themselves up. So I was like, man, I got to do something. I got to do something about this, right? And so in 2019, I recalled that 300 workout. I'm like, I got to get back on that and start adding that back in. And the kettlebell portion of it hurt me so bad from doing,
What did you have to lift? What was the weight on that
it
kettlebell?
was just a 35 pound, right?
Okay. So it's like a 16 kilo. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So 16 kilo, you got to clean and press it. And the way I was doing it was from the ground and I would just throw it way out here,
Oh, yeah.
and then I'd press it up. So not
Yeah.
only am I banging my forearm, I'm like really doing this weird torque thing with my shoulder in this external
Probably pulling your
position.
wrists back. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so bad. And then I was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. So that's when I started going down this rabbit hole of, let's see a better way to do this clean and press with the kettlebell. And in the beginning, I found uh, on it, on an academy, which was
Hmm.
Eric Elijah and his brother Juan or whatever, and they tutorials on YouTube, and they put out some good stuff, as far as like how to get the kettlebell to go around the wrist and not over top of it, and
Yeah.
things like that. Plus, I found out that the guy Eric Elijah, he has a ton of good like full workouts on YouTube. So I was just going through my favorite one of his is called the Kettlebell Thrasher.
Okay.
So I just stuck with that workout for a little while, and that actually helped me build my conditioning up, pretty
Yeah.
pretty good. Well, in my travels with that, because now I'm in this rabbit hole. I'm always looking up things on YouTube, and I don't even think I was like searching Instagram that much at the time, but that's how I found Steve Cotter. And once I started working, with the IKFF system, I kind of that's where I really transitioned my thought process, because the way Steve would teach it to you is just
Hmm.
it made you, I don't know, I just soaked it up. I just became a sponge, just his method of teaching. And
Yeah.
the biggest thing was, he would harp on this softness, and the fact that, to him kettlebells was like an art, it's an art form,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
performing these techniques in such a way, and uh, just the level of soft. Like that's the only way I can really put it. You just had to be soft, right?
Well, there's
And
like a finesse, right?
a
Because there's the
finesse.
like,
Yes.
there's that like, you know, the tension of like,
Mm,
doing the exercise, but there's also this place where you're like, I have to find a spot to
hmm.
rest,
Yeah.
or else I'm just expelling energy left and right. Versus,
Right.
okay, there's kind of this like finding the places where you can shift mentally and physically in that sense.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And that's initially where I started those, what in kettlebell sport we know and love, those longer sets, right?
Hmm.
Because now I'm training to become IKFF certified, and it's his test is like one continuous, you can't put the bell down, you know what I mean? And you got to go through all these different exercises and all these reps, and it turns out to be like a 13-minute workout.
Okay.
It's single bell, but you can't put the bell down before you complete it. And so I think that's like my biggest draw is like I've spent my whole life, you know, working out with all this like stiffness and stuff like that. Whereas now it's more of an approach of how to find that relaxation, how to be, kind of graceful with it instead of just powering and muscling through it.
There's
You
the
know?
acceptance of the discomfort too, that I think universal, what so many people appreciate about the sport. I know that really
Absolutely.
made a shift for me of, okay, well,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm just uncomfortable.
Hmm.
And I just have to figure out where in this moment I can find some level of physical peace, or
Right.
if nothing else, I just have to find the mental piece around it.
Hmm.
And I think that's what's so interesting about the sport is it's the, sort of these two things happening
Hmm.
at once,
Yes.
of like pain and peace, and how
Hmm.
do I find each one?
Right.
What you told me once, and I can't remember this, what was the thing that you did where you had to do like 10 minutes with a 12 or something, and you put it down at 4 minutes? What was that?
Yeah, so when I first got the go ahead from Mr. America to put on the All American Kettlebell Open,
Uh-huh.
that's when I really got into kettlebell sport. So
Okay.
before that, it's like I was working with Steve Cotter doing IKFF and that
Hmm.
those type of workouts. It's yes, it's very hybrid style. It's very sports stylish, right? But it wasn't like full on biathlon training or single switch snatch training, stuff like that. So I remember Moses Dunker reached out to me and he kind of took me under his wing a little bit
Hmm.
in the very beginning. So he was giving me like kind of tips and cues and things like that. And he was like, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go for a 10-minute snatch set with the 12 kg. And I
Okay.
maybe made it 4.5, 5 minutes, maybe. But I had to put it down because my palm hurt so bad.
You're like, this is hard.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Even
Did you
with
think it was going to be easy when you went into it?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, oh, 25 pounds ain't that bad. And I think it was jerk. It wasn't snatch. So I'm
Okay.
there, double bells, and just my hands hurt so bad from little tiny 12 kg. I had to put them down. And
It hurts.
I
Yeah.
remember I told Moses about that, and he was like, "These are just these little adaptations you're gonna have to go through, you know."
Yeah.
And then pretty much right around that same time, I was already connected with Dennis, and Steve connected me with Dennis, and then Dennis pretty much connected me with Nikolai.
Mm.
And so, Nikolai took over my coaching. You
Okay.
know, he's my first. I paid for a kettlebell sport coach,
Oh,
Nikolai.
interesting.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I remember. I mean, this was like years ago when we did the Saturday video workouts, and you'd
Uh-huh.
show up and you'd be like, "Oh, yes, sir,"
Hmm.
and Nicola would be like, "That's right."
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
"He's nice, not you, Buffy, who just gives gives me shit all the time."
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I always feel for people who are learning this without having like an in person.
Hmm.
coach. Like I realized that I lucked out in that sense because I had somebody who watched me lift and gave me corrections.
Hmm.
And I get I've met people that are like, oh, I'm just training at home or I'm teaching myself or and
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so hard because you're watch videos. I used to watch a lot of Dennis's videos and I thought that was helpful, especially in Jerk, like the side
Hmm.
view to sort of see, okay, there's this like progression in how you do it.
Hmm.
That made a lot of sense to me. But it's hard when you're trying to teach yourself how to
Yeah,
do
it
it.
is. It is. And on top, well, so I think I was lucky because I had Nikolai, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, not only was he coaching me, but I was turning around and coaching,
Other
you know,
people.
the guys with me, you know?
Yeah.
So, and there's something to being taught something and then have to reteach it to somebody. It
Yeah.
kind of helps you to have a deeper understanding of it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And
To try to show somebody how to do it is,
hmm
I mean, I had a friend that I was teaching how to use, just like, hey, let's get comfortable with kettlebells. And I was like, oh man, I got to
yeah,
figure out how to explain that. Like, you got to have your
yeah,
elbows, like, you got to sort of like push off from your stomach, but you're not pushing off from your stomach. You're using your legs. It's
hmm
harder than it looks.
right, yep.
I think Nikolai said this to somebody the other day. I think he has taught thousands of people.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I have to tell him this, but I will go to events for my daughter's school and there's other parents there and they
Hmm.
learn I do kettlebells. They said, oh, I used to work out at that kettlebell gym all the time. And
Really?
yes, so many people that, I mean, I think he's taught over the years.
Oh
So
yeah, that's awesome.
it's incredible.
And he's about to do it all over again down in Texas.
I know. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just so jealous. I'm
I'm
jealous.
really I got my wife to uh agree.
Okay.
Up here the last AAKO, I was talking to Nikolai and Amber and I was like, look, I really want to come down like for a 4-day weekend every like, quarter of the year,
Okay.
right? So go down for a quarter, a weekend, pretty
Yeah.
much work in the gym, work on the manufacturing side, get a little bit,
Both
just be
sides of
there.
it. See,
Yeah,
yeah. Okay.
just kind of be there. And she's like, yeah, I think that would be awesome, you
I'm
know.
jealous. I want to come. I want to come on one of those trips. I just want
Dude,
to go in the pool. I saw they had a pool.
oh yeah, they do got a pool.
I just want to go to the pool, and I want
Yeah.
to see the kids too.
Yeah.
Uh, I just yeah, I can't believe how big they are.
I haven't met any of the kids, but
Oh, they're fun.
Nikolai and Amber.
Um, so okay, I just can't believe that you were going to plan an event for something that you didn't do yourself. Like that's like pretty
Well, that's
ballsy,
I know. It was it was so just random that I got the
right?
opportunity to do that, right? Because so at the time I knew of kettlebell sport because I was working with Steve Cotter.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing was I was going through IKFF level 2, which is double jerks and single switch snatch,
Okay.
right? And you have to do, I think it's 40 jerks with 220s, and then immediately into 100 snatches, right?
Okay.
So he wanted very minimal breaks. He was very lenient. He was like, you can have up to 30 seconds, right? But really,
Hmm.
ideally, I want you to put the bells down from the
Pick the
double
bells up.
and go right into the snatch, right? So I have these videos of me, trying to learn the jerk, just so clunky, and it's essentially a push press, right? And
Yeah.
the way Steve wouldn't teach the push press with the ankles or the heels planted. That's typically just the IKMF thing, right?
Okay.
He would have you do the push press. You would lift up on the toes in that initial bump.
Okay.
But in the beginning, I just couldn't get that second dip down,
I know. There's
right?
like rhythm to it a little bit, and it's like
Oh,
hard to
absolutely.
get the timing. I've had one of my
Hmm.
early comps, I got out of timing. I just like got too excited, so I ended up push
Hmm.
pressing like a lot.
Yeah.
Because you just like you get off, and then you're like, oh, I guess I don't know what to do now.
Yeah, I remember I would send Steve a bunch of videos, and that was like the primary thing is, so he taught me, the positioning drills and this and that. And, you know, the hardest thing for me was getting that second dip down.
Yeah.
So in this phase, right, this is where I'm learning about kettlebell sport because now I'm like looking into double jerk and snatch on YouTube and this, I'm a little more on Instagram at this point. So I'm like, now I'm like kind of in this rabbit hole of stuff. And yeah, I remember I'm running classes at the Gold's Gym, like doing kettlebell classes up there. Got a
Oh yeah,
few
that's
people
right.
got a few people working out with me, and I'm good friends with the manager at the Golds. And he's like, dude, you should totally reach out to Mr. America and see if they would put kettlebells in. Like he didn't even say kettlebell sport. He just said you should see if they can put kettlebells in the Mr. America. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay. So I reached out. I just DM'd the Mr. America Instagram page, and I was like, hey, would you consider putting kettlebell sport into your event? And almost immediately, I get a response saying, absolutely, will you run it? So I'm just like, what the? Yes, yes, I'll do it, right? And then
There's the power of just asking, right? It doesn't
right,
hurt to ask.
doesn't hurt to ask, and I asked, and they said yes. And I immediately reached out to Steve. I was like, I have no idea the can
What
of
I just did.
worms, yeah, the can of worms I just opened up. And then from there, that's where I met Dennis, and that's steamrolled this whole thing that we know and love now.
That's so funny.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, do you feel like you're, I mean, I think my life has definitely changed from getting involved in this.
Hmm.
Um, do you feel, I mean, do you feel that way for you?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
The community part of itself is amazing. I mean, I would have never met you
I know.
outside of kettlebells, you know?
It was so funny when we went to Oakland and I was like, can you pick me up? I'm like, we never met before. And we get in the car and we're just like, we're having fun.
we, it was
Immediately.
like we were best friends right from the
I
get-go.
know. I was like, yay, we're all hanging out.
And then we end up doing like 20 laps around the fucking airport trying to get Rudy.
Note to self, just drive. Don't let Dana, or like just this
Don't
guy,
don't let me drive tired.
we were, yeah, well, who were we picking up at the airport? Rudy?
Rudy. Hmm.
Yeah. We ended
Yeah.
up, he was at the wrong, he was at the right airport. We were at the wrong
We were at the
airport.
wrong airport.
We were
Yeah.
at the
Because
wrong
you got
airport.
Oakland and then you got San Francisco.
And you have San Francisco, SFO.
Hmm.
Yeah, that was an adventure. That was
It
definitely an
was.
adventure.
It was like a 2 hour adventure.
I think it was more than two. And we
I,
were
I
all,
think so.
Renee, we're like, we're going to kill you.
Yeah, I just kept on making wrong turns.
I think you were like, I'm having so much fun. I can't keep track of where I'm going.
I know.
Okay,
Yep.
AAKO, the first time, that was your first competition. What was that like for you?
So actually, so Mike Silverman
Yes,
from
yeah,
so Mike Silverman is down in Bethesda, Maryland. So he's about 45 minutes south of me.
yeah.
And you know, he had been reaching out to me once I like started talking about the AAKO and all of this stuff, which was like April or May of 2023.
Hmm.
Uh, Mike Silverman had started reaching out to me and to be a part of his district kettlebell association, this kind of
Okay,
like little small league he was putting together. And so I went down there for a couple of workouts. I took some guys down there with me, and then he put on a competition in September of 2023. And
okay.
I actually did a 5 minute 16 kg biathlon there just to break that ice, just to
What was
break.
that like?
Surreal, because
Okay.
I think I did pretty well. And like afterwards, of course my snatch technique wasn't what it is today. And I had just had people coming up to me and telling me that I did really well, but your snatch technique is so unique. And they were like, it's so different from what we've ever seen before. And I look back at it, it's just freaking hardstyle snatch, but it's 16, you know?
Oh, is that what you were doing? Okay.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, uh, it was the very beginning stages of trying to, learn the all the little nuances of, you know, kettlebell sports snatch.
Snatch is brutal. And I think
Hmm.
snatch every time you go up in weight, like I
Hmm.
don't think jerk changes that much.
No.
Like I mean, the weight's heavier, but I don't think it really changes the way snatch does. It's like
Hmm.
everything with snatch has to just shift in a certain way.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, I'm still learning a lot, but I'll never not still be learning with snatch.
Yeah.
Plus, you're dealing
Yeah.
with two
It's
different sides of your body in the sense where it's like the way I
right.
snatch on the left is way different than the right, and
Me too.
it's like everything feels a little bit different. And then you put up
Hmm.
the weight up, and you're like, oh god, this is like I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Right. Right.
What's your favorite lift?
Um, Jerk, because it hurts so bad.
Just like
Serious.
the
It's
masochist in you.
it's literally the hardest for me. It- because it takes such fine tuning, especially like with the restrictions and the mobility when you have double bells overhead. And it's
Yes.
like it's the most challenging, right? It's for me. And it's just a constant work in progress. Yeah.
I think people, I mean, Audrey Bergio just did that survey of like, what's your favorite lift? And jerk was
Hmm.
definitely the lowest
Yeah, it was the
number
lowest. Yeah.
out of all of them.
Hmm.
I mean, I love jerk, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
It
What's your
just it just
favorite?
sucks.
Is it snatch?
No. Ugh.
You'd
Probably
say
jerk.
jerk. Yeah.
Yeah, probably jerk. I mean, I think I like them all differently, just like my
Hmm.
children, you know.
Right. I love them different. I
I
love
love
them,
them
but
differently. They
yeah.
offer different things.
Hmm.
I think I'm most proud of Snatch though, because I've had to work so hard at it.
Yeah.
It never came naturally to me. I'll have to send you. I found some old videos of me doing
Oh,
Snatch, and
really?
it is comical. Like, and
Back
not
at
in
the
like
old
a
Seattle Kettlebell Club?
totally. I'll send you the video. I watched it and I'm like, wow. I mean, my feet are all over the place. I'm just never
Hmm.
quite set up. And I mean, and I think there's that part of I could progress quicker in jerk, but
Hmm.
then you get to, but I couldn't in snatch. And so it was this mismatch of I really probably should have been lifting 16 kg jerk and then snatching 12s because I
Yeah.
just wasn't quite ready yet. It took me having a baby and having to literally start from scratch to get good at
Right.
it. But I love long cycle too. I hate long cycle, but I love it because I think long cycle is the one I feel like is so
Need,
hard.
needs the most work or what?
I don't know. I think it's just so hard. The clean is so hard. I find the
Hmm.
clean to be the most challenging thing. And so I just feel like I totally get wrecked every time I do a long cycle set. So then I'm like, well, now I need to do more long cycle. I'm the person at the gym where I'm like, if this was miserable, I guess I just need to do more of it.
Right. Right.
And I'm like,
Aiden Jones had that same mentality, right? He said when
yeah,
he first started kettlebell sport, it was like, this is ridiculously hard, so I should probably keep doing it because it's good for me, right?
yes. I always joke when Aiden and I are next to each other, we stand next to each other, and it's like I always joke, I was like, we're like the male female body version of each other, just like the freaking, big shoulders, and
Hmm. Right.
yeah,
Yeah. And for me, like, from 2023 all the way up until because all the way up until this, so I was trying to progress because I've been training biathlon, so I've been
yeah,
trying to progress into the 24 kilo, right?
hmm
But for some reason, I had a major setback with because uh, it's just my mobility. I think is it needs some work, right? So I have some previous injuries with my right shoulder, and it's like for some reason once I started messing with the 24s, and I thought I'd given myself enough time, uh, two almost 2.5 years of 16s and 20s. okay, let's try to step it up. And I was doing fairly well. I did, 5 minute jerk set and a 5 minute snatch set and had pretty decent numbers. So I was trying to progress that up, into the 10 minute stage. And just coming up into that, dropping down into that second dip and the
Yeah.
catch, it just caught me a little wrong on the
Mm.
right shoulder. And then now, just ever since, even 16 kgs are, bothering that right shoulder when I'm putting doubles up overhead. And it's
Okay.
like, so, and it's so weird because single bells aren't doing that to me right now. Right. So it
Because
makes
you've shifted to do more pentathlon at this
more
point.
more pentathlon right now because of that, reason. And I'm
Yeah.
still like every day, I'm hitting some mobility things, right? I'm trying to do something, whether it's some sort of stabilization for the shoulder, mobility, active mobility positions for the shoulder, and just trying to see but ultimately, I think it's my trajectory of
Mm.
how the arms are traveling up, right? Because even just the slightest flare out on the way up can make this catch wrong, and it
Yeah.
sends that sharp pain through the system.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
it's like just trying to get that trajectory just perfect. You know.
I was at I was at like dinner last night with some people who are interested in kettlebell. People always want to talk about kettlebells when they find out. And they're like, "Oh my gosh, tell me more about that."
Mm-hmm.
And one of the people said to me, "Well, how do I know if I'm going to do it? Like, how do I know that I won't get injured?"
Right.
And I was like, you don't. I mean, you hope that you don't, but you really
Right.
sometimes run up into these things where you didn't know you had something, or
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a natural part of using your body is you might get to a point
Right.
where you're like, yeah, I've got something I'm working with that I either need to take a break and rest, which
Mm-hmm.
I think every athlete hates to do, or I've got to work around it. And
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the cool thing about kettlebell too is like for you to be like, yeah, you know what, doubles are really bothering me right now. I'm going to focus on pentathlon. Like,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're doing things, you're going to gain something from it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so, there's that part of like, we're kind of dealing with, we're not spring chickens anymore.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're getting a little middle aged and everyone's got something, but you watch people lift from, we got the younger guys are 14, 15 up to people in their 70s, and
Mm-hmm.
they might modify it somehow, but they're able to still stay active and stay in the sport, which I think is really amazing.
Right. And you know, speaking of the pentathlon thing, I found out, and this is what has made me like fall in love with it. Right? It's
Okay.
it's not only are you drilling the fundamentals, so everything that it takes me back to the roots, working with Steve
Mm-hmm.
Cotter. Right? Not only are you drilling, just you simplify the fundamentals of kettlebell lifting, right? But then you add this aspect of this intense, like just intense conditioning side of it because the rep
Yeah.
scheme, right? When Valerie created it, and you've done pentathlon so many times, right? But
Yeah.
you have these rep caps, and it's like these the goal is to hit these RPMs. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but 20 RPMs on jerk, whether it's single or double bell work, is kind of
Brutal.
it's brutal. I wouldn't
It's
say it's like
brutal.
it's not like impossibly hard, but it's like brutal, right? It's just you're
In order
throwing
to
this,
well,
yeah.
in order to get like for 5 minute jerk only with 16 kg, you have to hit 90 reps
Mm-hmm.
in 5 minutes. Now I like jerk and I do a lot of jerk.
Mm-hmm.
I hit 86
Yeah.
and I I don't know how I even, I mean, they were quick, right?
Right.
I mean, that was brutal. And
Yeah.
I can't imagine doing more than that.
Yeah. I did a workout with Kim Fox and Carissa back when we were this year when we were promoting their seminar at the AAKO, right?
Oh, the
And
5 minute set.
yep, and I
Yeah.
did I did 5 minutes long cycle with 16s, And I think if I remember correctly, Carissa might have did snatch. Maybe she did long cycle, but Kim did 5 minute jerk with 16s, and she did 100 fucking reps.
I know. I was like, how do you do this?
I know, woman is a machine, man.
Yeah, an absolute machine. Yeah, it's I, I yeah, it's all hard. It's all hard.
But
I
what it
judged
takes to
both
get there,
pentathlons. Uh-huh.
yeah, what it takes to build up to 20 RPM, especially double jerks, is insane. And
Yeah.
even 16 kg, some might say, "Oh, that's lightweight." Try it. Just try it.
It's
But it's
all
like,
light until you get however many reps in, and then you're like, this is
right.
hard.
But I will say this, right? So the whole time I'm doing biathlon, I'm training no more than 13 to 14 reps a minute,
Hmm.
right? Pretty consistently, like I would, it would be really tough for me to hit 15 reps a minute.
Yeah.
And then when I transitioned and start training with pentathlon, and I went through the like this 6 week cycle for Jeff Butterworth's New England Kettlebell Classic, right? Coached by Dennis Vasilev at this point. And I had to get my jerk pace up to 20 RPM. And it was super tough to get my body used to that rhythm because it's constant. It's barely any
Yeah.
rest, and you want to. The biggest thing is you got to make sure you hit that fixation in the overhead, you hit
Yeah.
a solid fixation in the rack. But like it's just so fast. Now after NEKC, I transitioned back to biathlon under Dennis, and I found that double bell work, I was able to pace myself way better. Like
Oh, interesting.
like so much better. I was able to like hit 14, 15, 16, 17 RPMs with double
Yeah.
bells. Super, it just felt super easy, to be able to do that pace with 16s, you know?
I think yeah, and I like Carissa will do that in my programming where I have to hit like pretty high reps in,
Mm-hmm.
whatever lower weight that I'm doing. And
Right.
then I always feel like it's a little bit, it's, of course it's hard, but it's a little bit of a vacation when you go up and wait a little bit and you're like, oh,
Yeah. You get to
I don't
slow
have to
down.
hit, I don't have to hit 18 reps a minute. This is fantastic. Like,
Right.
oh, 12, like I can do
Mm-hmm.
that. I think during the seminar, Kim talked about that a little bit, where she had a comp where I mean, she could tell the story better than I could, but just around pacing and how she went up in weight and then was doing less reps, but then had to go back down, and
Mm-hmm.
it like worked opposite. So it's like, I don't know how all that science works, but
Yeah.
I think you get into the pacing of doing like 20, 18, 20 reps a minute. It's always going to help everything else. It just
Oh
sucks
yeah.
while you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When do
Yeah.
you work out now? Because you have three kids. So when are you getting your
So,
workouts in?
um, typically right after work.
Okay.
So, I work six. Well, right now I'm on I'm on a job where I'm working 4 10s. Right. Today's
Okay.
today's kind of a bit different. I'm on another job, just working, helping out some, supervising some stuff. But um, the job that I'm actually working on is 4 10. So I'm working Monday through Thursday, 6 a.m. to
Hmm.
4 p.m. And so I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. And I typically come in. So I have some people that like to come and train with me. So guys come in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday is typically the days that I work out as well. Like Renee and Steve, you know, um, me and Renee have such a history that I just let them go to the house,
Hmm.
at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and
Okay.
they usually get their workout done in the gym prior to me even getting there. And then a lot of times when I get there, I'll have like one guy rolling in with me at 4, usually Mikey. We get our workout in, and then I'll have like two or three, maybe two or three other sessions after that. And I try to roll them in every hour on the hour. try to
Okay.
get them done. So like Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 4 o'clock in the gym, maybe 7 or 8 o'clock we're done. You know.
Okay. What did your wife think when you were like, I'm going to transform this entire space into my house into kettlebells? Was she cool with that?
Oh yeah, right from the beginning.
That's cool.
Right from the
Nice.
beginning, because when we bought, so the house that I bought was my wife's childhood home, right?
Okay.
And so the whole thing was we were looking at a this log cabin on 40 acres of land down in a place called Farmville, Virginia, right?
Hmm.
I had put an offer in on it. We got accepted. We was about to move into the whole, you know, this. We was going to move into that. What do they call it in the house buying stage, right?
Okay.
Uh, so my wife's grandmother, she actually lives in Florida full time, and the house that she has up here in Maryland, she just kind of comes up once or twice a year anyway, right?
Hmm.
So she offered to sell it to us, and it was hard to say no. I mean, it's not log cabin, 40 acres of land in the middle of nowhere where I don't have to see a neighbor. But, here, because I have, my oldest daughter is from a previous marriage, it kept
Yeah.
things super simple, right? So I got to
Yeah.
stay in the area with my oldest kid. I didn't have to like make these long drawn out plans on we're going
Yeah.
to do summers in my house and this and that.
Yeah.
We kind of just we were able to it just kept things super simple.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, the yard is pretty big. It's about a close to an acre, of yard. So turns out to be
That's
plenty
big.
for yeah, it turns out to be plenty for three kids and a house full of animals. So uh,
You need to
so
put
it
the
worked
cat
out.
video out there where the cat is like trying to get into your workout. And you're like, get out of here, cat.
I know, I know. But now, look, I just rescued another one this
My
past week.
God.
I know I have four cats now and three dogs
Why?
because I can't tell my kids no. I can, but like it's tough. I
It's not. It's two letters.
know, I know.
I
Plus,
say
I'm
that, but
I'm
we
just a
have a
big
cat and two
softie.
dogs. So, I
I'm
mean, I
just a
get
big
it, but
softie when it comes to cats.
they're so cute.
I know, I know.
If you had to choose cat or dog,
Oh, cat all the way.
cat. I know. The cat's better.
Cats are my people.
I know. The cats are
And
so
my
much
wife's like,
chiller.
why does every cat in this house just choose you to be their human?
Hmm.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, because they know I need their love. I'm, I need it the most.
Cats are healers. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's what I'm
needs
saying.
some healing.
That's what I'm saying. Right? It's always this thing where, if you look in, I'm weird like that, right? I want to read the symbolism of what this could possibly mean outside of
Oh
what
my
we
God.
might think, right? So
The
cats
cats
are
are
one of
like,
them things,
hey, go
right?
to the
They can
Zorn's
sense
house. Yeah.
they can sense that okay, this guy needs a little purring action.
How many litter boxes do you have?
Three.
Oh my God.
It, having more litter boxes keeps it fresher in the house.
Yeah,
I
100%.
mean, it's a daily chore of mine and the kids. We got to
I
go through
know.
every single day. First thing we do when we get home, kids gotta
Gotta
clean
clean
litter
those litter
boxes.
boxes.
Every day.
I feel like your kids think you are Superman.
You think so?
Yeah, I like the way that they look at you and the way I mean, they are just like, they think you are so cool. It's really sweet to watch.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah, yeah. You're a really good dad too. Yeah, you had Raya with you for
hmm
AAKO.
hmm
She's so sweet. She's such a good
Yeah,
kid.
that's my girl.
Yeah, and she's like she's watching. She knows
hmm
what's happening.
Oh
So
yeah,
she's a great kid. Okay,
yeah.
what are you training for next?
All pentathlon. Well, actually,
Okay.
I lied. I lied. Dennis has me on a snatch program. So
Okay.
I am because it's single bell, it doesn't bother the shoulder as much. We're
Hmm.
we're looking to do 20 kg, 10 minutes for jingle bells.
Okay, so
Uh,
December.
December 6th, and then after that, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I'm going to stay on uh, a snatch training cycle.
Okay.
I might let that be it for a little bit. But right now, it seems to be working really well with the pentathlon.
Nice.
So right now my training looks like I'm doing a pentathlon set, and then I'll do Dennis's workout, and then if I'm up for it, it's like this past week I did a pentathlon set, and then I did, 3 4 minute sets of snatch, and I just didn't
Okay.
finish. I didn't. So I wanted to do 2 rounds of pentathlon, but I just didn't do that second round of pentathlon because the snatch kind of took it out of me.
Yeah.
So but just starting the workout with pentathlon seems to be really firing me up because a lot of times I'm splitting the pentathlon up, and I'm doing cleans, jerks, push press, and then
Hmm.
the second workout is clean and press, and then half snatch. So I found that you're still getting those jerks in prior to the snatch, so you're still getting that fatigue there, and it's been really good. So right now, I mean, yeah, that's what it is. And snatching is coming along pretty good. I got 4 minutes on the left and 4 minutes on the right today when I get
Hmm.
home. And right
Okay.
now
I know
it's only
I got to
18
work out
kg.
today.
But what are you doing?
I didn't look. I know I'm doing long cycle, but I don't remember what it is. Probably long
Are you
cycle and snatch.
are you still with Carissa?
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. So
Yeah.
trying to figure out, we were looking at, trying to map out what 2026 is going to look like. I made a rule for myself. I wasn't going to fly more than 3 hours to compete in 2026. So I got to see what that looks like.
You're gonna have to make
We'll
an
see.
exception.
I might, but this is my like initial goal.
Right.
This is my like
So,
I say that and then I do a comp and then I like get all high and I'm like, oh, I gotta do whatever
yeah.
comp is next. It's like it's addictive.
Yeah. So is OKC on the list this year for you?
Um, like like Cali Open.
Mm-hmm.
I think so. I was trying to figure out if I was going to do Vegas or Cali Open because
Mm-hmm.
for us, our school break like butts up to both of them.
Oh
So,
yeah.
I mean, I think I spent all of our travel budget last year competing on kettlebell, and so I got to Greg and I have got to go on vacation. So
Right.
I'm like, okay, so whatever one I can figure out. I think at this point I'm going to lean to go to Cali Open.
Hmm.
Um, because I did text Nikolai and I asked if he was going to go, and he said he was. So I want to go see. I
Yeah.
want to see him too. I
Yeah.
think Seiko's going to come down for Cali Open, so
Hmm.
it'll probably be that K2 in May. Maybe I'll go to back down to Oakland for August, and then I'm
Hmm.
open to the rest of the year.
There you
We'll see
go.
what happens. I'm
Well,
open to the rest of the year.
you got to keep the AAKO on the books.
Oh, 100%. I mean,
Hmm.
I have my All American headband I have to
That's
wear.
right. That's right.
Yeah. Who do you like watching lift? Who are you like?
Uh,
I want to make sure I catch these sets.
so at the AAKO, it's always the past couple of years. Carissa's been coming, so I've made sure to watch
Hmm.
her sets. And luckily, we get this year we got the trio. We got Lorna Clydeman. I love watching her snatch sets. Uh, Kim Fox and Carissa. We got to watch all three of them at the same time doing snatch. Uh,
That was good.
I love watching Kim lift. Period. Carissa all lifts. When Audrey Bergio comes, you always got to watch her snatch lift. Um, this year, I always enjoy watching Donica Starino because
She's tough.
that lady is fucking. That's
She's a
another one of
tough
my kettle
cookie.
besties.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's a tough cookie.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This year, I was really excited to see Aiden lift for the first time. So I got
Oh
to see
yeah.
Aiden do all his extraordinary stuff.
There's
You
30
know,
plus thousand
oh
pounds of
my
kettlebells
God,
lifted.
just crazy stuff. Um, when I when I went to Boston, it was even though I was lifting next to him,
Hmm.
it was Kevin Dong, right? I just
Oh,
I was really excited the fact that I actually got the lift next to him, but of course I went back and I just watched his set all the way through.
dude. Well, he was I mean, it's insane to watch. And he was so
Hmm.
sweet because I was the one that the little chip
Oh,
flew out.
Yeah.
And he got down, and I was looking and I was like, oh my gosh, I felt bad for him because I was like, okay, you're not getting that extra
Right. Right.
weight. But he was so sweet. He came up to me afterwards. He's like, are you okay? I was like, I'm totally fine. But I was like, it did
Yeah.
scare me for a minute. I was like,
And
what
so
the hell
that
just
turns
happened?
out that was my fault.
I know you had a vinyl sticker at the bottom.
Because I
I
wanted to
know.
keep that set of bells separate from the other ones because they're the ones that go in my house. So that was a little mess up on my part.
It's all good. It happens, right?
Yeah.
You can't, I
hmm
mean, I don't know. You never know what's going to happen at one of these events.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your 2026 kettlebell goal?
Pentathlon. Not
Okay,
really
what's
sure. Not
mm-hmm.
really sure. Just gonna start working the weights up,
Okay.
you know, just slowly, just putting my full attention into that for now. Um, there's Boston again, that's coming up, Jeff. That's in April.
Okay.
Coming out. If I come out to K2, I'll probably, if I haven't, you know, if I don't feel comfortable on the double
Mm-hmm.
still, I'll probably seek out a 10-minute snatch set and see what that looks like as far as maybe hitting 20 or maybe a little more, depending
Okay.
on what the progression will look like and how the body takes it. But yeah, other than that, IKMF Worlds is also May, end of May.
Mm-hmm.
So
Syracuse, right?
Syracuse, New York.
Yeah.
Um, Not really sure what to do there because they don't have a pentathlon. They have the double pent. So I
Oh, okay.
might might possibly seek out my first half marathon just to be a part of the
Yeah.
community up there, because I told Judy I'd take up all the bells that I have, and if she needs platform, just everything that all the equipment that we have, if she needs, I told her, it's at her disposal. So
Oh, that's cool. That's nice of
yeah.
you. Okay.
So other than that, not really, not really got a vision for anything further out than that right now.
That's okay. Sometimes that's all. Sometimes it's like you make the goal too, and then you
Right.
don't reach it, and you're like, okay, well, the goal's just shifted to something else now too.
Yep.
Okay.
hmm
Well, I don't know. How do you end these things, Dana?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Typically, typically when I try to transition out, I'll be like, all right, so you have these training platforms. If somebody on the back end of this conversation wanted to reach out to you for coaching, where can they find you? Blah blah blah. Right.
Okay, great. Where would people find you if they wanted to find you outside of
So
outside of coming up to your house and creeping out and trying to work out
yeah.
there?
So right now, my website is RazeBells.com. My Instagram, RazeBells. Everything, all social media platforms is RazeBells. You can find me there. I do online coaching. I do in person. So we're running this hybrid machine, and it's catching some traction and is moving along. So
Yeah, and your lifters are showing up. You've got great lifters.
thank you. Yeah, they're
Yeah, they're
doing
working
they're
hard.
doing they are. Sometimes
So,
just recently, I'm like looking at the weight that Mikey Two Food is putting up, and I'm like, I gotta catch up.
oh, I used to when Nikolai and I used to work out together when I was trying to get better at snatch. He's amazing at snatch, and so I would
hmm
just try to match his pace,
Yeah.
which would throw him off. He was like, "Stop!" And then he's like, "Well, then I would go faster." And he's like, "And then you would match me faster." And when he's just like, I can't go any faster." I was like, "I'm just trying." I was like, "I'm just trying to be like you."
Yeah. Is there anything better than an in sync snatch set though? Watching two or three guys just at the same pace. And so like when we went out to OKC in 24, right? And it was
Yeah,
me and Rudy up on the platform. Oh, it was me, Rudy, and Paul,
and Paul.
right? And in the beginning, we were all like just hanging out together, right?
Yeah,
And then just slowly, Paul picks up his pace. He's just, and this guy, I mean, 20 kg just outlifting us young bucks like it was nothing.
I think he went 8 minutes on one side.
It was like 7 or 8 minutes. Yeah.
It was like insane. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
there's a set where it was me, Ola, and Tiffany,
Mm-hmm.
and we were all in sync for like quite a while.
Yes.
And I was like,
Hmm.
that was cool. Like I watched it back because I
Right.
didn't know it was happening in the moment,
Hmm.
because I mean, I can't, during a competition, I'm just in my own thing.
Yeah.
And
And then
yeah, there's a
so,
video of we're all going at the same time.
yep. And then when me and Rudy pretty much we was training a lot together, right?
Yeah.
So our pacing is like right on point with one another, right? And but you know, when you start to see somebody falling behind or maybe picking it up a little bit, that's when the differences start coming in, and people are roaring, you know, seeing like 7 minutes of us just hanging together, and then one of us starts pulling ahead or
Yeah.
dropping behind, and people are roaring. Dude. It just
It's cool.
it's
I
so
love
exciting.
seeing when like a whole flight is like everyone
Hmm.
doing the same weight.
Yeah.
I love it. It's and because it doesn't happen all the time, and then you
Right.
can really see, oh, clearly, like you don't know how much people weigh or whatever, but it's like it's nice to be like, okay, well, how's that person doing, and who's catching
Right.
up and who's not, and I
And
think
then and then
Trevor and I were like paced together for quite a bit, and then
yeah.
he really gassed it up in the last minute before his switch, and he just like took off.
Hmm.
But that was fun to just sort of see the numbers tick up back and forth with each other.
Yeah. And then Nikolai's doing this thing now to where whatever competition he's going to, he's emceeing the dag thing, right? So he did OKC in 24, and just hearing him on the mic, you know, just when people are lifting, just hearing him on the mic gets me pretty riled up. And when me and Rudy were up there, just in sync, he has all these little quirky little sayings that he says.
Mm-hmm.
He says them all
You
the
gotta
time, but
you gotta flip
you
over
know.
like a $3 steak or something like that. I'm like,
Yes. Yeah.
he says a lot. I mean, we've known each
Hmm.
other for a long time, and so he'll say things, but I catch part of it because sometimes it'll make me laugh.
Hmm.
But my partner, he'll watch the tape and he says, "Oh, did you hear what Nikolai said about you?" I said, "No, I was lifting kettlebells." I
Yeah.
don't know what he said.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's the older brother I already have.
Yeah.
They're so similar. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the award you got at AAKO was very well deserved. I'm definitely appreciate all the just hard work in trying to build the community, and it's I really appreciate that because I think there's something special about doing this, and it takes people who are willing to go above and beyond because we don't all have capacity for that. And I mean, you have 3 kids and 500
Hmm.
animals. It's like Noah's Ark over
Yeah.
there. So I don't know how you're
Yeah.
doing it, but anyways, but thank you. I appreciate you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. That was that kind of made me choke up a little bit there when
I
when I
know
realized when I realized Nikolai was giving it to me. I was like, oh wow,
that was sweet, well deserved.
thank you.
Okay,
So
well, you better
we
get out of the
concluding
elevator
this
and go
thing.
back to work.
Well, this is where I'm hanging out. So
Okay, well,
I'll step
we'll
out,
stop. We'll stop
check my.
recording so we can. I can say more swear words.
All right. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.